For the artists, for the passionate. Welcome to the Adventures Elsewhere podcast. Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to the Adventures Elsewhere podcast. Or welcome, if it's your first time. I am your host Jade Black, and I am here with the yearly prompts episode, and if you can believe it, this is the third one of these I've done now. This is the end of the third year of prompts. We're heading into the fourth year of monthly thrills, which is ridiculous. That is the first time I've said that out loud, and it makes it even more weird. So first and foremost, before I get into exactly how weird that is or anything else, I have to give a shout out. And this is to @authorhferry on Twitter. I believe his author name now is H. Fedosi. I apologise if I'm pronouncing that wrong, for what it's worth. This is the man who pushed me, who gave me the tiny little nudge I needed to actually take the plunge and do my own prompt hosting. So every year, I shout out this man. I am forever grateful to that. He has 2 books out, 13 and Erkenblood. I highly recommend you check those out, links in the description. So, year 4 coming up. And this is a particularly weird one to me, because in both of the previous sort of look-backs and looks forward over the prompts I've done, I've been able to have some sort of concrete, well, as much as I ever do, some sort of concrete impression of that sort of time, of before I did prompts and going forwards. I've had some sort of idea of how long it's actually been and how long it's felt it's been, and at this point, been doing this for 3 years. It's just, I don't really have that anymore. Time is kind of meaningless. I maintain that. Time is, I say this all the time in my actual life, that time is a scam. That it's just, you know, the sun rises and sets, and anything we've put beyond that is of our own invention. It's fairly pointless. And really, at the end of the day, it seems like I've been doing this forever. I mean, it's 3 years now. I might as well. It sort of almost seems bizarre to say it's only 3 years I've been doing this. It feels like I've been doing it longer. It's sort of bizarre to think back to a time when I wasn't hosting the monthly Thrills prompts. It's more weird to think that I wouldn't do it as opposed to me doing it, because I'm so used to it. It's so much part of my routine and just something that I do. But why do I keep going with all this? I've been doing this for 3 years, about to enter year 4. Why do I keep doing this? Because it's fun. Actually, I really enjoy making prompt sheets. I enjoy reading people's answers to the questions and seeing what people are up to, and I've seen a lot of people make a lot of progress over these 3 years. I've seen, I mean, Myrna's as good an example as any. I've seen her go from drafting book 2 to having an entire trilogy published, and there are so many other people who are in similar positions as well, where they've sort of joined as a sort of, hey, I'm new to the writing community, I don't know what I'm doing, to, hey, I have a book releasing, or I've written a trilogy, and that's awesome. And of course I see my own progress a bit more with this too, because there's a wrap-up at the end of every month. I always get a monthly check-in on my own progress, and I actually think there's a lot to be said for that. And yeah, obviously there are times that we don't make as much progress as we like. You know, that happens for everybody at points, myself included, of course. But I still think it's worth remembering that that's normal, almost. You see other people in the community having that. But also that all progress is good progress. There's a reason I put that at the end of the month on people's prompts when they're not happy with how much progress they've made, because it's true, all progress is still progress. It still matters, it still counts. And having a sort of monthly check-in can almost ground you in that, because you can think, oh, I've got nothing done this month. But when you really think about it, actually, chances are you have. At least that's my experience. But beyond that, it is really fun. And sometimes just coming up with really random topics that, come from whatever the theme is or whatever project I'm working on, in previous years. Coming up with random topics of conversation can be quite fun. And thinking about, oh, this random thing, wait, how does this relate to my book? I have no idea until the day, a lot of the time. Pants about every facet of my life, apparently. But that's really fun, actually, to sometimes just get a prompt. And sometimes my mind just goes blank, and I'm like, I have no idea what I was thinking when I made this. Because I batch make prompts often a lot in advance. I mean, as of recording this, by the way, I've only got October's sorted. I don't actually have anything beyond that, but often I'll make 4, 5, 6 months of prompts all in one go. So trying to remember what I was thinking with this really niche question that I've done for a prompt sheet, and it's sort of fairly throwaway. I don't know what I was thinking, and even on its own that can be quite funny. I distinctly remember in some point in year 2, I fully thought I'd still be drafting Snakebite when it got to next month of prompts, but the end of Snakebite was so quick that I didn't. So I sort of tailored the prompts to Snakebite, and it just didn't work at all for the next set, and half of the time I was just having to say, and on today's episode of I thought I was drafting a different project when I made this prompt list, and it was just really damn funny. I think genuinely that was just a great time. But at the end of a year of hosting prompts, it's a bit weird, because obviously I start making a podcast board a while in advance a lot of the time. So, but even so, I'm sort of hyper aware of it, because I make prompts in batches and a lot in advance, but I don't ever make the October prompts, which is, when the new year begins, until pretty close, because generally I haven't really decided exactly how the next set's going to be run. I have ideas, whenever I'm picking a theme, I'll have a sort of almost a list that I pick from. So I'll have ideas of themes I could have, but I don't settle on one until really late. And I never quite know how I'm going to handle October, because I always want to do something special for it, because, it's the anniversary. But I'm always hyper aware that the end of the year is coming, because it's September, and I'm hyper aware of September as a month anyway. I'll get onto that. But obviously September's coming, the first hashtag, the first post of September Thrills, the first time I drop the image onto my phone, I'm like, okay, it's coming. As soon as you end up making the September Thrills prompts and the moment you get close, I'm very hyper aware that the end of the year is coming. And honestly, usually I'm really glad about this, because, there's been a theme of some kind for every year, with the exception of the first year, because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. But I get bored of it. By the end of the year, I get really bored of the theme and thinking around the theme, and I'm just really glad that I don't have to do it anymore. And, maybe that sounds bad, but, thinking about the same thing for a year fairly constantly is kind of a lot. But it's also because it's the end of September, and that might be a bit weird if you've been following my Twitter over the past couple of days, because, well, this month probably, because I've been really happy that it's the start of September, but that's more just because it's the end of summer, and I hate summer, I do, it's my least favourite season. So I'm always like, hurrah, it's September, it's autumn, but I'm also like, September is often quite a weird month for me, and I'm always glad to see the back of it. But October, My god, I love October. Not just because it's spooky season, I really don't care for Halloween. I mean, that's probably just a British thing as much as anything, but I just really don't care for it. But I love there's horror and there's thriller and all of those genres and books and games and music and everything that I love, everything that's a bit darker, actually gets a chance to really shine and really be around for once. Because especially in the book sphere, like, everything is fantasy. So having something different just for a while is nice. And I like October weather, I like the autumn leaves and the autumn wind and the autumn rain. I love rain, I've talked about that before, but that's not just me being British, there's a sort of spiritual thing to that. But I love October. And so having this sort of anniversary in October, I think is actually very fitting, and it started in October for a reason. I very nearly started in September, all of this monthly thrills nonsense, but it didn't. Partly because that would have been a really last minute, but also because October, I knew, would be the perfect start point. And it's something that I can always look forward to through September at this point, because I'm always genuinely excited for the next year of prompts. Because the prompts are such a fun thing. It's like I get to do something new, and it's the prompts, and it's October, and October's great, and I love October. And also, this is maybe a bit niche. I don't know how many people would know about this, but every year on the 1st of October, the band 1st of October record a new album. And that's one of the things I'm most hyped for every year, is the new 1st of October album, because it's just such a fun display of creativity and artistry. And if you've never heard of that before, I highly recommend you look that up on YouTube. That's where that really sits. I highly recommend you look that up, because it's just such a great time. So talking about October Thrills 2025, I mean, the prompt sheet is on the screen for what it's worth. I always like to have it there. There is a slight difference, and I think this is probably going to be an October only thing. This is going to be like the special thing for October. Is the Saturday Shenanigans prompt has been switched out for Saturday Surface. And what Saturday Surface is bringing up some of my favourite prompts from the very first round of October Thrills. Because there are a couple of, I think, almost sort of semi-essential writing questions that I asked then, because I didn't know what I was doing, and also getting to know a potentially entire new community, and it was absolutely the right thing to do. But I haven't asked them again since, so one of the obvious ones is, are you a plotter, a pantser, or a plantser? Is one of the first prompts. It's on October 4th, I think it was originally October 2nd. But there is one thing. That prompt I just mentioned originally had a typo in it. And I genuinely didn't realise until 2 weeks ago. I never noticed that. No one in the community ever said anything. But there was a typo in that very first prompt sheet on, like, the second prompt, and that was pretty funny. Genuinely, to realise. I don't think I'm going to do this for the entirety of the 4th year, because even though I still have all those prompt sheets, just sort of because I couldn't be asked to delete them, I'm actually terrible at that. I don't delete anything. But the new theme I have, there's just so much to it that I don't think I'll need to do that, and it is just the sort of special October thing. I mean, the 5th year of prompts, I'm definitely going to go all out for October. I don't know what that's going to look like, but there's going to be a lot more to it than just this. This is almost the sort of build to that, almost, I guess. But since I touched on the theme, this year, Now Just Gone's theme, I don't think anyone actually picked up on this. No one's ever really mentioned it. I purposely didn't mention it because I sort of wanted to see if anyone would pick up on it, but they just kind of didn't, and I think that was lame. So I've changed the graphic style back to the Year 2 style, where the theme is actually on the prompt graphic. This last year has been a zodiac theme. Each month has had a zodiac sign on it, done as a constellation, and it's had a sort of elemental thing to it because each zodiac sign apparently has earth, air. You can tell I know what I'm talking about. Fire and water, there we go. You can really tell I know my stuff. They all have a connotation in that, which I did not know until doing the prompts. I know nothing about zodiac stuff. I thought it might be interesting to learn, but having done prompts for a year around that theme, I still have learned nothing. So, that was a waste of time, I guess. But, it was kind of a lame theme in many ways to me, partly because I don't really care about zodiac stuff, I never really have. Still don't. But also a lot of things overlapped. Actually, a lot of it is about sort of the traits that a person might have, and a lot of them are very sort of similar, and also trying to put a zodiac on a month when a lot of the time they sort of run from halfway to halfway. It's all a bit wonky, it's all a bit weird. I wasn't really that into it. So this year I thought I'd pick something really cool, pick something with a lot of depth to it, and that I am definitely into. My entire first degree was around this, actually. I don't know if I've ever talked about that. But this year's theme is games. I love games. Video games, board games, card games. I love games. And I thought that this would be a really fun theme. There's so much you can do with this. And there is an entire reason I'm starting with the first game for October Thrills being chess. There's a very clear reason for that, and that's because chess, I loved chess when I was a kid. I used to play hours and hours and hours of chess. I had a chess theory book, I might actually still have it. Learned bits of chess theory. I loved chess, which is probably not surprising, to be honest. But I just thought, because October is the anniversary, and there's a bit of a throwback with Saturday Surface, I'll put my own little throwback in there with chess. I thought that would be a nice little touch, and drawing a few comparisons with shogi, which for those who don't know is a form of sort of Japanese chess, that's what it's sort of colloquially called. It's a very similar game, but a Japanese version. That's actually been really interesting. I've never actually played shogi or been that familiar with it until now, but knowing the similarities and knowing the differences and drawing some comparisons and using that for prompts, that's been really fun. As someone who loves games, who loves to play games, who loves to analyse games, who loves to make games, that was really fun, and I'm really looking forward to this year of prompts and this year's theme. I'm having a ton of fun with it already, and I think that's only going to continue. I'm really excited for this one. And last but certainly not least for this episode, I like to do a little check-in of where I am at the start of every year of prompts, at the end of one and the start of another. I like to do a little check-in because, and the reason I did this is really because the first time I had a pretty major event coincide with this. The coinciding with the anniversary of the prompts, the very first anniversary going into the second year, was when I was signing my publishing contract. That just sort of happened at the same time. And I mentioned it in that episode, and ever since, I've sort of liked to do a little check-in. On the second anniversary, going into the third year of prompts, I was gearing up for publishing my debut. I'd actually published my first novelette, Count the Stars. I'd published it a few months prior, and I was gearing up for publishing Mr. Nakagami. I was actually teetering on sending in my first round of edits, I think. But this time round, on the third anniversary, end of year 3, the beginning of year 4, I am in official edits for publishing my second. I've gotten 2 novelettes out, Mr. Nakagami's been out for a while now, and the second book, the second release in the Determined Ones is coming pretty soon. I mean, this will be going up end of September, actually it might be going up on the 1st of October, or very close to, which means that it's coming in almost exactly 3 months. Which is pretty exciting, actually. It's as terrifying as it is exciting as the writer, by the way. But talking of my published work, I've touched on all of them. My debut novel, Mr. Nakagami, is out. My 2 novelettes are out, Count the Stars and Charcoal Rain, in Cozy-ish and Dreamcore, respectively. All of those are available now. You can get them now. Links are in the description. There's something for everybody in amongst all of those, and for what it's worth, both of the novelettes are set in autumn. This was never a conscious decision, it's just something that happened. They're both sort of set round about October, so if you're looking for an October cozy or an October creepy, you got both. And if you want to keep up to date with my writing and how the whole process is going, I do writing updates just about every day. And of course, this is where the monthly Thrills prompts are hosted. That's Twitter. I'm jblack21 on there. By all means, come and join in the fun. It's sort of tailored more towards dark literature, but all genres are welcome, if they dare. So please, come on, join in the fun. It really is just a great time. I'd love to have you there. And if you've been enjoying the vibe of the podcast and you want to know what the next episode is going to be, because at some point I have to decide what it is, then Instagram is the place to be. I'm Jade_Black21 on there. And if you like the unscripted, chaotic vibe of the podcast, then you'll like the unscripted, chaotic vibe of Instagram, because I don't know what I'm doing on there. And if you're an art and world-building type person and you want some exclusive content on there, some exclusive snippets from Mr. Nakagami, exclusive stuff about both of my published novelettes, maybe sort of, in a sense, try before you buy, get all the information you can't really get elsewhere without scrolling way back in my timeline, Pinterest is the place for you. I'm Jade_Black21 on there. And if you really like a spooky, and you want to know about the horror game I am currently developing, you want to head over to Blue Sky. I'm jblack21 on there. And the only thing I'm going to tell you before you get there is it's called Are You Awake Yet? And it's nightmares, and there might or might not be a benevolent ghost. So that's very October. And if you've got your own published work, or it's well on the way, by all means get in touch. My email's on the screen. I'd love to give you an interview. I'd love to be a part of your journey. Please check the description first and include all that. That just makes the process a lot more streamlined. It's a lot easier for everybody involved. Makes everything faster. It's just easier. And a couple of things to note. Indie and Self Pub, you are the people I want to hear from. Trad Pub, I'll consider you. And another thing is, I am prioritising indie dark lit from this point forward for the sake of there are still so few places for indie dark lit, and I'm trying to be the change I want to see. And no, dark lit does not include dark fantasy. But until next time, and perhaps until the next round of October Thrills, if you want to join in the fun, well, I guess the next time we'll have an episode like this is in a year's time. We'll be talking about going into the 5th year of the prompt, so which I'll be saying, isn't this the 10th year? If I actually say that, and you notice that next year, say something and I'll give you like a free book or something, because honestly, you've earned it at that point. And until then, you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a like, or commenting, or subscribing. It really does help the channel a lot. All music is done by me. Copyright Jade Black 2025.